Welcome to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Necrons and some of their unit compositions, some different play styles, and different ways that you can run Necrons through their new codex. And first off, I'd ask you to like and subscribe to the video and the channel. We do 40k battle reports, and we're just starting to do some of the unit reviews as well. So today we're really going to be talking about some of the dynasties and army compositions and some synergies that you can do with the Necrons. And so first off, we really want to talk about dynasties. So there are several dynasties in this book. However, personally, I feel there are two that are really good. And there's different ways that you can play Necrons now. They're not just one-sided. You run up with a whole bunch of warriors and hope for the best. So for dynasties, you have two distinct ones. You have your melee and your shooting. So for melee, you have Novak. This is adding 1 to the charge rolls. You're also adding +1 armor penetration to your attacks if you were charged, or performed a heroic intervention. And for your shooting army, you have Mefrit. You're adding 3 inches to your range, and you're also getting AP1 to your weapons if they're within half-inch range. So these are two very powerful, very distinct lists, and you can tailor your army based on these dynasties. So first you want to do is you're going to have your HQs. So when it comes to melee, there's some really melee focused HQs. Specifically, you have the Scorpic Lord. As you know, he is one of the newer models from the Indomitus box. He's really good. He's very good at close combat. But you also have some ones that you might not think to take. There's the old model, the old Locust Lord. And then you have the Command Barge as well, Catacomb Command Barge. So this is a really good HQ for a melee list. It's very strong, 9 wounds. You have some ranged weapons as well in there, quantum shielding, but you also get My Will Be Done. So he's a very good choice. However, he is expensive. So if you really want a cheaper list or a cheaper option, I would actually go with the Locust Lord. He's only like 105 points base, and then he's really just going up there and being a beat stick. He's going up there and helping out some of the other units. So you can give him 4+ invulnerable save. You also can give him Phylactery, so he's gaining wounds back. You can give him a war size, so he's really going up there. And you can actually run him with some Locust Destroyers, which we'll kind of talk about in the end, and he helps buff them as well. So really, another good unit is your Technomancer. This is going to be a unit that you're going to run with your shooting army. He's going to give rights of reanimation, so he's really going to be able to buff your warriors and your immortals, really help you hold those objectives and get your warriors and your immortals back, so they make them really difficult to shift off of objectives. So for your elites, basically you're going to have 2 different styles. So for your melee, your elites are going to be some units you can take: Spiders, Flayed Ones, or the Scorpic Destroyers. So the Scorpic Destroyers were designed to run with the Scorpic Lord. They help buff each other. They're a really good unit to go out there and harass and take out or take over other objectives from your opponent. The Spiders are really good because they help back up your Scarabs if you're taking Scarabs in a melee list. And Flayed Ones, not a lot of people had Flayed Ones, but I feel like Flayed Ones are better now than they used to be, and especially in a melee-focused list. Adding that +1 to charge when they come onto the board, that really helps them out. And they're actually a decent unit, and they're fairly cheap as well. Now for your shooting army, for your elites, you have your Reanimator. This again is going to be just like the Technomancer, really going to be able to help buff your warriors and your immortals, your main troops, to help hold on to objectives. And this is a points-based game, so in your shooting army you really need to have something that's going to help buff your units. Stalkers are another really good choice. They help target units, so you're getting reroll ones for your other units as soon as it hits. So you fire with your Stalkers first, and then the rest of your units are getting a buff from that as well. Death marks are an interesting choice for a shooting army as well. They obviously can deep strike in. You can target a specific unit, and then you're on hit rolls of 6, you're automatically wounding that unit. Very strong, very good harassing unit to deep strike in your opponent's back lines and make them think twice. Now for fast attack. Fast attack is interesting for melee. Again, you have your Scarabs and your Wraiths and your Praetorians as well. So these units are really good because they're super fast. These are the fastest units in the Necron list. And they fit really well in a melee list because they're meant to go out and distract. So they go out first, it forces your opponent to deal with them, and then by that time, then you have your Scorpec Lord with the Scorpec Destroyers. All that's coming in second to really hit home the hammer after you've already depleted or distracted your opponent. And the Scarabs again can be backed up by the Spiders, as we mentioned previously, from your Elite's choice, and this will help keep your Scarabs alive. Or you can do the little trick where you can explode a Scarab and take out some units that way as well. Now, as far as your fast attack for your shooting army, Tomb Blades are a very good choice as well, because they're able to zip up the board, get within half-inch range, and then therefore they're able to get that -1 AP bump to their weapons as well. And they have very good kit loadout. You can kit them out very different ways. So Tomb Blades are a very good choice for a shooting army. So when it comes to your heavy choices, for melee, your best bet is going to be to run Destroyers. Destroyers are a really good choice because, again, you can run them with your Locust Lord. So your Locust Destroyer and your Locust Lord, they're going to synergize off of each other. The Destroyers already have hardwired hatreds. They're already rerolling the ones. But with the Locust Lord, if they're within 6 inches of them, now they're rerolling wound rolls of 1 as well. And then combined with your stratagems, this makes a really good unit to harass your opponents, either on the table edges, really take out units that you need to get your units in there with the rest of your melee. So what you can do, run your Lord up with your Destroyers, shoot a unit, charge in with your Wraiths, and then take out that unit as well, and then maybe take over an objective or deny your opponent an objective. Or if you're just going for secondaries, attrition, something like that. This is a very good combination that you can do. Now when it comes to heavy, for your shooting, Doomsday Stalkers, Doomsday Arcs, or Annihilation Barges are all good choices. Something that's very shooting. You're already getting the +3 to your range, and if for your Annihilation Barges, you can actually get those up and be within half-inch range. Now with your Tesla Destructor, instead of AP 0, now it's -1 AP, and it might not sound like a lot, but it can actually do some damage, especially if you're getting a lot of hits with these. Okay, so now when it comes to making your list, so there's I'm going to give you an example of one of your lists that you can make, and we'll start with the shooting army makeup. So for this one, we're using the Mefrit Dynasty. So for your HQ choice, you can have an Overlord with just a simple Void Blade. This is going to give you My Will Be Done. Royal Warden is also a good choice for an HQ. Being able to fall back and still shoot. This is good for your forward objectives. They're going to be able to go up there, take it, and if you get charged, you're being able to fall back, shoot them off the objective, and retake it from them. Again, the Technomancer is there to help buff your units. You can run this with some Immortals or Warriors, and again, helping them reanimate, get your models back, making you very difficult to push off of objectives. For your troops, we're going to have 10 Immortals with their Gauss Blasters, and then 2 15-man squads of Warriors. I would say minimum, you want to have 15. Obviously you can have a max of 20, but the 15 really gives a good middle ground where they're not too squishy, and your opponent really has to take time to take out those models. They have to shoot through 15 Warriors, which can be difficult to do. And I feel like 10 is too easy for them to do that, and 15 gives you a better chance to produce more units. Now for your elites, you're going to again have your Kinetic Reanimator, and this is again going to help buff your units. Death Marks to go and harass, and then 2 Stalkers, so that way you can do pincer move, 1 on each side to push up the board with either your warriors or your immortals, and then they're going to be targeting units, and then the rest of your army is going to be firing after them, giving a buff to the rest of your army. And then finally, we're going to have your Annihilation Barges as well. One with the Tesla Cannon, one with the Glass Cannon, but again, your main focus is having those Tesla Destructors. These can be pushing up the middle of the board, capturing middle objectives, getting within half-inch range, so that way they can get their -1 to their AP. Now the next army we're going to talk about is our melee-focused army. So again, this is going to be Dynasty Novak, so we're getting our +1 to our charges, and then we're getting our AP as well. So for our HQs, we're going to have our Locust Lord. He's very cheap. We can give him Velocity, so that way, or Placrity, so that way he's getting his wounds back, and then also giving him a War Size, so he's hitting really hard in melee. And then we're going to also have our Scorpic Lord. Now, for our elites, so we're actually doing a Vanguard detachment here. So again, we don't have any troop choices. So really what we're doing is we're going up and we're going to be pushing up the board. We're not staying back. You could throw some Scarabs on the objective if you want in the back, but mainly we're pushing our opponent off our objectives. This is where you're really going to focus on your secondaries for annihilation or taking out big targets. So for elites, you can have up to 6 choices, and we have 5 here. So we have our Kinetic Spider. Now he's going to be running behind our Kinetic Scarab Swarms, basically buffing them, bringing them back. We have our 10-man unit of Flayed Ones, Lynch Guard, with our swords and dispersion shields, and then we have a unit of Scorpic Destroyers, 2 of them actually, to run with our Scorpic Lord. So that's a really good, kind of Death Star unit, and that's going to take a lot of heat, a lot of pressure, but your opponent is going to be forced to focus on them. And then again, we have our Scarabs and our Wraiths. Again, these units are meant to push up the board, go take out an enemy, harass and force your opponent to deal with them first, while your Destroyers, Lynch Guard, and everything else is pushing up the board. And then you obviously have your Locust Destroyers. These are going to run with your Locust Lord to harass, take out units, buffing your giving you rerolls 1s on your wounds as well. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. We appreciate your watching. Please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps the channel. And as always, happy gaming.